in the previous episode, we built this brand new greenhouse, built it with a bunch of rotational farms, and ended up stocking up our food reserves. And in this week's episode, we need to build the complementing factory to this factory, which will help us turn these into these that we can then later turn into some delicious mutton wraps. And to do that, we're gonna have to build a mob farm right here in this spot. Don't you agree, Mr. Sheep? So the general idea would be that we have some form of mob farm in this area, and it's going to have to be a spawner farm because we brought a lot of spawners, or well, we bought I think 4 spawners from the overworld, and we need to place them in this area in a farm. And I'm thinking that I'm going to do 2 types, that we'll maybe do, say, passive on the one side and hostile on the other side. That way we can take the passive drops and transfer it over to a factory maybe in this area that will create those delicious mutton wraps we were talking about. And then we'll also have a hostile one on this side that will give us all the bones and the zombie flesh and the gunpowder and all of those type of things that we're going to need for different block productions, as well as trading with the villagers to get our emerald supply up and going. So that's the general idea. And before we start with this, I just want to head down to the workshop and just talk about something. So the thing I want to talk about, well, it's this thing I'm standing on, spawners. And the reason I want to talk about them is because we're in the end. You don't really get spawners in the end. Well, you don't get any at all in the end. So we had to add a mod that allows us to craft mob spawners. So if you download the pack from scratch, you'll be able to craft, I think I made it at least 1 spawner, and it's just slabs, iron, a fire charge, which is made up of those 3 items, and an end crystal, which is made up of a gas tier, an eye of ender, and some glass blocks. So the crafting of spawners is possible, and because we're in the end, again, I had to gather up all the eggs that I wanted to bring along to this dimension in the overworld, so I could at least have some of the eggs ready, so I can have sheep and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to use to build the mob farm. We're going to take the spawners that we gathered in the overworld, and we're going to incorporate them in the farm that we're going to build up there, and all the ones that we need extra, we're going to have to craft, so we're going to have to kill a few guards and stuff like that. But I want to mention that if you're playing in overworld, you do not need a mod to pick up the spawners. No, you can use a cart assembler, so you can dig a little hole, put down a cart assembler, and just power it, and you'll be able to move spawners. If you want to pick it up, you're going to have to change a few things in the config file, but generally in the overworld you can move spawners around. You'll also have to change the rule to say you're allowed to take it through the portal. Otherwise, you won't be able to move spawners from the nether to the overworld, or from overworld to the end, or stuff like that, unless you change, again, a few config settings. I do, however, believe you can use trains to bring blaze spawners from the nether to the overworld, but I've never done it. So yeah, okay, with that said, I think it's time for us to quickly go clear up some space so we can build this factory. Now to planning where this build's gonna go. First of all, I made this little road 3 wide in the previous episode, and I do think we need to make it a little bit bigger, so it's gonna be 5 wide, and then that means that this factory will sit on this line over here. I'm thinking we can maybe have the stairs, I don't want to say hidden really, but maybe somewhere over here. So it's 1, 2, and we have the corner of the building maybe over here. Yeah, I think that could look nice. So now you come on a little platform, you have this little thing, and you walk through the center of these 2 builds, I guess. And then we just need to plan this out. So this is maybe the size of a spawning chamber, maybe a little bit bigger, because it's usually a 9 by 9. Maybe we should make it 11 by 11. Yeah, so it's going to be, well, it's going to be 9 by 9 on the inside, so it's going to be 11, so 12, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like this. That's quite big. I don't mind it. My only problem is, will we have enough space to add a second one on this side? Because I don't really want to carve out of this mountain too much. Okay, wait, let me do a bit of planning real quick. Some planning has been done, and I think this layout could work. So if we jump into free cam right here, you'll see we'll have 1 spawning chamber on this side, we'll have a center structure doing something, and we'll have another spawning chamber on this side. I did think about pushing this back all the way over here, but this actually looks really cool, and I think we should do a building on its own over there. So what I might do is I might use this as my reference to where all of this starts. I'll dig it all out, and then we'll clear it up that way, and then we'll rather do a basement area over here where all the storage and the killing and stuff like that will happen. Sorry, I'm staying in this view because these are all entities. Totally distracted. But yes, that's what we're going to do. So what we need to do next is a whole lot of digging and prepping, and then we can come back and see if we're still happy with the shape we got. Okay, so I modified the shape a little bit, but I think I'm happy with what we've got going. So if we hop on into free cam again, from this elevation, you'll see the little killing chamber over here, or the little spawning chamber, and then we'll have a bigger structure protruding out the top, like so, in that general position, and that will also be nested in between these two spawning chambers. So we'll have one for hostile, one for passive, and then over here somewhere we will have the killing of the mobs, or even the storage, and then we'll have like little yards and details and stuff like that. So I know not all the detail has been worked out, but we're in a pretty good position that we can actually just start and build something in this area. So I think that's what we need to do. We need to see if we can gather up a bit of resources, and then we can maybe look at building or getting the basics in place. So I've spent some time in a creative world, and I think I've got a build that I really like a lot. And in my hand, the clipboard that contains all the materials we're gonna need to get this building built. So what I need to do is go through this list, 8 pages of it, gather everything, and then we can start the cannon. So just to show, we've got our little backpack, it's filled to the brim, and if we grab our little checklist, you'll notice that every single one of the pages has been ticked, and the settings for this is replace solid with solid, which is perfect. So we've got all the materials we need to get this mob factory building built. So with that said, it's time for you all to grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we do a little build montage. And with that little build montage, we finished another build, and I love it. I think it looks so cool. I like the different color uses, the copper panels, the containers on the roofs, and just these little panels over here. I think it came together really cool. If we fly down here, naturally all of this still needs to be edited and transformed, so it creates like a little barrier. But I'm not really sure if I want to do a building right over here on this level, or do I want to build something up there and have stalls down here. So I'm not going to bother with this part just yet. But then if we run up here and we use this not so functional staircase, you'll see that over here we've got the entrance to the farm. But if we go up the stairs, you can stand over here, you can actually see inside this spawner, and this is the hostile spawner. And if you go to the other side, we've got a smaller little window over here, and down there's where all the passive mobs will spawn, and they will all get transported to the center, and from the center they will go to that position over there where they will get killed. That's more or less the idea. How it's all going to work, it should be quite simple. If we drop down here real quick, you'll see this is the hostile spawner. So what will happen is we'll have them drop on top of belts. The belts will transport them over, and if they land over here, they will get transported with belts to this position where we'll have some deployers with knives or swords, not knives, with swords, hitting them, killing them, and gathering their drops. Then on this side with the passive mobs, it's a little bit harder because they can't spawn in the air. They need to spawn on grass blocks, so we need to change these to grass still. But what will happen is we'll have the spawners in the ground, and we'll actually dig out this one as well, because right underneath the spawner we will have our redstone links. But then we're going to run a wall of fans over here that will just blow these animals all the way to over here, and once they reach this point, they'll get transported this way and killed. So it's relatively simple, and I think I should maybe just get the basics in, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so we've done a little bit of work. I waited for the grass to grow, but now we have a fully grassed over spawning platform on that side. And on this side, well, we've got a bunch of belts, and we have belts in the center. So now if the hostile mob drop on those belts, they will be transported to the center line, and from the center line they'll head over to this area. Well, yeah, this area, and over there you can see one deployer. Those deployers we will be giving swords, so they will constantly be hitting the mobs, killing them, and their drops will then go into this little storage wall over here. So if we pop on down here real quick just to see what it looks like, we have the deployers over here. We still have to hook them up into the storage system, but just over here we have the storage drawers and trims and everything just going up, and that's easy. That's the basic part of that. We also did bring power over from the steam, or from the two wind turbines, and it comes into this area where we have a little switch, which you might have seen with that little glowstone lamp. That's just to turn off the farm completely. But now that all of this is done and everything's kind of hooked up, we can just go ahead and start connecting all these things up. So the first thing we need to do is we need to connect up all of these encased fans, and I think what we can do is we can just take encased chain drive and just link them all up together like this. And then from here we can just do this right over here, and now we just need to get power from here to there. What I'm also thinking is we need to speed up this power, so I might quickly rip all of this out, put in a rotational speed controller, do a little bit cog over there, and now if we do something like this with a gearbox right there, some more shafts over here. Oh, ran out. Can I have more? We add more over there. Only thing that bothers me is the fact that it's in the middle of the floor, so now I need to do like a little tunnel whenever I need to get to the back of things, but it's fine. It's not the biggest crisis. But now that is working. So if we quickly head on up over here, I will fix this little wonky ladder, but if we flick that and we head on down, we can just try and get up here. We can see it's turning. Oh my word. Let's just do this. This is ridiculous. Let's do a new staircase right over here, like that. Okay, cool. Oh man, come on. I need to clean up these tunnels. But anyway, so now we can see it's turning. We can see it's turning over here, and all of those are spinning. But are they spinning the right way? They are. But you can see it's only it's only blowing up to here, and we need to get it to go all the way there. So we need to increase this speed. So let's see if we do 128. That's a lot better. We can actually go down one, but I think 128 is fine. I don't think that's a problem, so that is perfect. So now that we have the encased fans running, we need to look at powering some of the what do you call those things? Belts. We need to power the belts. Let's quickly see if that's now spinning the right way. So that's going the right way as well. So we've got the animals blowing off, going towards this, and then into the killing chamber. Now the only thing we need to do is get the spawners in and connect up these to the storage system, which should be relatively easy if we take brass funnels, and then I think we're going to have to do filters as well, because we want to tell it not to take out the swords. And then we can do normal funnels over here. So we can do normals over here, just facing inwards. We can do those over here, spitting out the items. And then we just need to set up a filter. So if we do this and we say swords, and we're going to say it's a deny list, and we're just going to place all the swords in here. Well, maybe we should do these. I don't know if I'm going to give it stone swords, so for now I'm just going to keep it on there like this, and now this should technically work. I mean, it's got everything it's got everything that it needs to be able to kill stuff and everything. So let's quickly grab, I've got a bunch of spare eggs. Let's take some cows. If I were to place some cows, where are we going to place these cows? Can we get down here? Let's get down here and let's build up over here. So we know that the cows made their way over. Now the only thing we need to do is we need to be able to give one of these, say, a knife, and let's give it my knife for now, my sword. Oh, I think we also need to do that. But why did it now not do anything? Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not going to do anything because the storage isn't set up, but this should technically work because now that's working. So if we say, okay, you're going to collect leather, you're going to collect what's that, raw beef, and then I don't know if I'm going to keep the eggs, to be honest. I might add them to a system and then like chuck them later on because we're going to get a lot of those. But that should be it. So, okay, now we know it works. We know everything's in here and everything should be going according to plan. I really need to fix these ladders and stuff. So what I need to do quickly is just set up a storage system for all these swords and stuff. Make sure all of these are set to use. Oh, that kind of hurt. But like I was saying, get a sword system set up where we can put swords into this thing automatically, and then we can look at placing the spawners and adding some redstone links to them to turn them off once some of the storage drawers are full. So I have to admit, I do not know what happened to my brain in that previous clip. I watched it over and I was all over the place. I was really like, and I apologize. It's late on a Monday evening. The video needs to be out tomorrow and I've just got a lot on my plate and I think I just brain farted, like a real big brain fart. But anyway, we're over here because we need to make some additional monster spawners. We currently have a total of 5 in the hostile section, which means we've got enough space for 4 more. Plus, and then we've got 2 already, so that means 4 minus 2, it's only 2 left, and then we need 9 for the passive side, so we need 11 in total. So let's see if we can do this. So first things first, we're gonna need some blaze powder. Where is my blaze powder? Okay, so we're gonna take this, no, that's a stone cutter. We're gonna turn it into some blaze powder. Then we're gonna have to, we already have those, but we need to make a bunch of Eyes of Ender, so let's do 12 of those. And then can we make 12? Yeah, we can. So we've got that, and now do we have enough? No, we need bars. Do we have bars? Yes, we do. And if we do this and we say craft, there we go, 14 new spawners. So this should be enough to complete the entire setup over there. So I'm gonna go install them, but let's just first get back up there. So on the passive side, we're literally gonna pop one in each and every single one of these holes, and that's basically it. We're gonna have to, however, add some redstone links on these, and these redstone links will be connected to the storage, to some of those threshold switches. But I'm not sure what's going to be in this farm. For now, we're going to do sheep, cow, and chickens, maybe some pigs. So we're just going to power them all. We're going to have a master override, which will then turn all of these on. And then once we start connecting them to the threshold switches, we will add the appropriate signals. And I'm thinking we're just going to do 2 of each egg. So if this is the cow farm, we're going to do 2 cow eggs. If it's a chicken one, we're going to do 2 chicken eggs. Now that we have all the spawners in and we have them all connected to the redstone links, the next thing we need to do is we need to get ourselves the spawner key, which is crafted by using 2 diamonds and a monster spawner. And what we're going to do with that, you're going to right click a spawner, you're going to tell it the count's going to be very high, speed very fast, range 128, and we're going to save. And this we need to do for every single one of these spawners. What this is going to do is it's going to increase the amount of mobs that spawn, it's going to increase how fast they spawn, and it's going to set how far away we're allowed to be from the spawner for it to work. So I'm going to run through all of these, get all of that sorted, and then hopefully when we're done with that, we can actually start to test and see if everything works perfectly. Okay, so I think we're ready to test it, and just to show you guys what I did off camera quickly, I changed the system so now items will drop out from these deployers onto this belt. It'll move across and get picked up by this system, which is connected to the storage. So if the item's in storage, it will go through the system all the way up into the storage system, and this is the overflow. And then from here we will sort into the storage, because I noticed we're going to need a whole lot more than what we have going there. We're going to need some storage for wool, for different arrow types and backpacks and all of those weird kind of things. So that's what this is for. And then if we go up here, this is just a little temporary little thing where I can climb up and come see the threshold switches and add the redstone links and all those things. So that's happening over here. And what I'm gonna let's take that on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell it to stop maybe on 80%. Yeah, let's do 85%. So 85%, it's going to trigger and it's going to stop the system, and once it reaches 20%, it will turn on again. So that's what this part is for. And now we can quickly go ahead and turn on this contraption first of all. So if we do this and we say turn on, now everything should run perfectly. Oh, the only place I do know that it's not going to run is this belt down here. Okay, let me quickly fix that. Okay, so now that's spinning and that's working, so it should transport all the items. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put a single mob egg in the hostile, and it's that spawn over there. So we're going to see if we can use this farm to farm some skeletons for bones and stuff. So we're going to need double like that. We're going to need to place that in there, and then we're going to need to run. Okay, so for now, it seems like it's working. What is this? Cut deep slate brick. Oh, wow, that's really, really loud. Okay, we just turned jukeboxes down for the minute, and it's working, but I think we might have made it too fast. Yeah, something's not working down here, and I don't know if it's maybe because of that arrow on the belt. So let's see if we can see what's going on here. It might actually be the arrow on the belt. Okay, so everything is working. Our biggest problem currently is we do get items that spawn get left behind on this belt, so we need to sort that out. And we also need to maybe change the speed of these spawners, because they're spawning so many skeletons and this is not running fast enough here. See all the items here? I don't know why this guy is not moving though. This is pretty weird. Is there another item somewhere that's bothering them? Yeah, see, I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna see if I can figure something out, and I'll bring you guys right back. Okay, so I am pretty frustrated. You see, between the previous clip and this clip, there's been a total of 3 other clips. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but for some reason my mic just decided to stop recording audio. So I spent 3 clips explaining problems, troubleshooting, fixing, building, creating, and what do I have to show for it? This little I'm sorry face. But let me show you what we all did. So first of all, we fixed all the spawners, they started working, but we had a problem where all the mobs would pile up on one line and they would stop right over there, and that was because items were on the line in front of them and they couldn't move forward because of the items. So we had to change that. So what we did is we extended the item belt to run under the deployers and throw items on top of these belts over here. So there you can see the belts come through, they drop items over here, and these trapdoors prohibit the items or prevent the items from flinging across the room into the wall, and then everything flows through and gets picked up by the storage system. If there's no space in the storage system, it ends up in here, in this little overflow chest, and from here we're slowly sorting and figuring things out. So that's the one thing we did. The other thing we did is we increased the speed of the rotational controller. So if I flick this lever, you'll see things are going very, very fast, which allows for some of the skeletons or whatever that spawns over there to actually get flung over a bit further and not just all pile up in one line. So that's what we did in regards to the problem. As for storage, well, we changed this up and we've got all the spawn eggs that we get from the farm over here. I don't think we're going to need them all, but I made them all drawers, and if we end up saying only using those bunch, then I will move the wool that we currently have up there into these drawers. But for now we can go up here, and then I change the floor so now you can actually see through, but we also have all the wool in this one, and we can add more items over here. I don't really want to add things over here because I've got a bit of an idea of something I want to do in this area in the future. So if possible, I would like to move it all down. But then also over here, you'll see we've actually filled up on quite a lot of items. The bones can still take some more, so can the chicken. But for now, I just stopped it so I can give this little rundown of what's been happening because it's getting late. I wanted to finish the video by now, but because of all the hiccups, we actually have to, I don't know, fill in with a talky bit and then, yeah, take it from there. But anyway, yeah, so all of this is working, and I will continue between episodes to fill these up, get all the different spawners in, and make sure that everything is working perfectly. But that's basically the mob farm in a nutshell. Yeah, I know we lost a lot of content with those clips that didn't work, but it was more just me troubleshooting, getting to where we are now, and now it all works, which I'm totally grateful for. But we need to head on over to the population counter because it's that time again. It's time for us to add the new citizens to the citizen counter. We currently have 10,226 citizens living in the city. That means the population has grown by a total of 32 new citizens. So if you want to become part of the civilization, part of the population, then smash that subscribe button and we'll add you to the counter in the next episode. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this episode. Hiccups and foggy brain and all, we finally made it to the end, and it's been an adventure. I really do like this build. I like the little details on the outside, and I'm just happy that we have some form of mob farm that gives us XP as well as drops, so I don't have to go manually mending my tools, mending my gear, and all of those type of things, which is a big win in the long run. But let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this build? Do you like the color palette? Do you like the details? And also remember, if you haven't done so yet, do subscribe, smash that like button, ring the notification bell so you never miss out on another episode. Till next time, take care, bye for now.